What it be, what it be, what it do, what it do. It's your host, Dave, with the Dave and Blue Show. Tell your mama, your cousin, and your bro to like, share, and subscribe to the Dave and Blue Show. We lit. Yeah! Paul Bunyan game. Let's go. Michigan State versus Lil Bro, man. Time to put Lil Michigan State in their place, man. Let's get it. Week 9, Game 8 for the Michigan Wolverines. We are away in East Lansing, little brother's house. We are walking in and gonna be kicking doors down and messing stuff up, taking their stuff and going back home to enjoy it. So today, we Michigan Wolverines are walking into Michigan State in East Lansing, and it's the state championship. It's the state championship today. So, it's going to be a scrappy contest. And we have our major keys and prediction video today, so let's just get it. I combined the two today because I didn't get to this Friday night. So we are a couple hours before the game, so let's get it. So we got our 6 major keys. You know what it is. 3 on offense, 3 on defense. Let's get right to it. So first major key, as always, for Michigan, establish the running game. Whether it's Jordan Marshall or Justice Haynes, we must establish the running game if we want success today. Can we throw it on Michigan State? Yes. But it's always best to start off with your run game intact. So whether that's Jordan Marshall or Justice Haynes, establishing the running game against a run defense, which is really their run defense, I believe, is their only really strong suit on the defense. Even though they do allow 131.3 rushing yards a game, I think they're ranked 52nd in the country in rushing yards allowed per game. So, yeah, we should be able to run on them, but still, establishing the running game is going to be important. It's going to be key. So, I've heard Justice Haynes might be able to go today, might not. Honestly, from what I saw last week, which I've been told that it's not really that much of a change, it's just, I thought the offense looked better and smoother last week with Jordan Marshall running the ball, but it could just be that the game plan didn't really change. It's just that every 3 or 4 runs wasn't a big, huge 70-yard touchdown from Justice Haynes, so we got to do more offensively. Essentially, last week, since we had Jordan Marshall starting, you could see a drive fully develop. You could see a few running yards here and then a pass play, a few running plays, it kind of, the offense was just flowing really smoothly, and it was in rhythm, and it took up time with Jordan Marshall as the starter. He had 25 rushes, 133 yards, and a touchdown. Whereas normally you'll see Justice Haynes, right, as the starter, 5 yards, 6 yards a gain, 5-yard run here, 7-yard run here, 80-yard touchdown, or 50-yard touchdown, or 40-yard run, or something like that. But with Jordan Marshall, you're not going to see a breakaway run. You might see it today, but you're not going to see just the breakaway runs every other possession. So, establishing the running game is going to be important for this game. Our second key is going to be Bryce should be able to have his breakout game today. Michigan State allows 251.4 passing yards a game. And so Bryce Underwood should have his breakout game today. And by breakout game, I mean he should have his first game over 300 passing yards. So if we can establish that running game, and if the offensive game plan with Chip Lindsey is one that allows for it, we should be able to get Bryce Underwood over 300 yards. And he should be able to have a breakout game. You might as well put the in-state rival to shame and go off on them, because he really hasn't had a game where he's really just exploded, right? And what better game to do it than Michigan State, right? That would be perfect. 350 yards and like 4 touchdowns. That's not happening, but that would be freaking cool. But it's not going to happen. But 310 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown, that's possible. Something like that is definitely possible. So I think I said it earlier in the week, 23 of 29, 315 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. That would be solid. I could see him doing that. I think that'll be pretty cool. So we'll see. But hey, we'll take it. And we just gotta really have Bryce do his thing. Last week was really good, and that was a good Washington team. No matter what national news media people try and say, Washington is a good team. Like, it's not like we beat Purdue or something last week. If we have a similar game plan to how we beat Washington last week with a more explosive quarterback that they had and a more explosive running back and a more explosive wide receiver, I mean, we should be able to do the same to Michigan State. I say rinse and repeat that exact same game plan, but we're not on the defense yet. So, third, receivers need to make plays today. McCulley, Marsh, if Klein is good to go, Klein. If not, Zach Marshall, Deacon Tonielli, Hogan Hansen probably won't play. So, we can get some passing going. We just need the receivers to make catches. Samaj, please, 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 don't drop any open passes today, brother. Please, that would be great. Catch the ball. That would be great. That would be great. So receivers need to make plays and don't drop passes. And then minor key point number 4, I kind of alluded to it, but tight ends need to be involved to get in the offense today. I think that last week the game plan worked really well because the tight ends were involved. So involve the tight ends again today. Let's see what they can do. All right, moving to the defensive side of the ball. Defense, here we go. Key number 1, contain Aiden Childs. Michigan State is struggling, but Aiden Childs is really not. I mean, he's got 10 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions this year, so he's not really struggling. So we have to contain him. He's averaging 213.7 passing yards a game on 65% completion rating, 10 touchdowns and 3 interceptions again. He's also their second leading rusher with adjusted, I think it's 234 rushing yards total and averaging about 33.4 rushing yards a game. So Aiden Childs, he can beat you in the air or on the ground. So we need to contain him like we did DeMond Williams. He's not as explosive as DeMond Williams. He's not as quick and shifty, but he can move. So making sure he doesn't have time to throw, and then making sure you don't just leave him let him just move around at will outside of or even in the pocket, Don't let him create. Because he can get the ball to Marsh and Omari Kelly, and if that happens regularly, if they're able to connect on a bunch of different plays, and we can't cover those two guys, Marsh and Kelly, this might turn into a ball game. So, contain Aiden Childs. If Aiden Childs is stopped and contained, Michigan State is done. It is what it is. Like, he is their best player on the team, easily. Him and Nick Marsh. So, if those two specifically, I mean, you got to stop the guy getting the ball out first. So, if you stop Aiden Childs, fluster him, rattle him, force multiple turnovers on him, this game is going to be over pretty quickly. So, and then point number 2, stop Omari Kelly and Nick Marsh. Omari Kelly, 406 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. He's averaging 58 yards even a game. And then Nick Marsh, 404 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. He's averaging 57.7 yards a game. So those two are solid. Those are 2 really solid receivers. Nick Marsh is elite, but he's in a bad environment at Michigan State, but Nick Marsh is a great receiver. I think Michigan tried to get him in the transfer portal last year, but I've heard he doesn't like Michigan. He's been a Michigan State fan or something his whole life, I believe, so he was never going to come to Michigan anyway. So, there's that. So, stop him. Stop Marsh, stop Kelly. You stop those 2 and you stop Childs. Stop those 3 and their offense is done for. Because Mekhi Frazier's got 384 rushing yards. I think he's averaging 54 rushing yards a game. The offensive line is not good. Mekhi Frazier is not. He's not Kenneth Walker III. But then again, there's not really too many running backs like him anyway. So, 3, set the edge and don't fall for screen passes. Don't just Wink cannot blitz all game today. Because Michigan State can throw a screen pass, because screen passes are pretty easy to complete, especially if your defense is off balance. So contain the screens, and don't get beat on huge plays, right? So, and then our fourth key, create turnovers, please. Jair Hill, I'm looking at you, man. I'm praying that this dude, Jair Hill, wears some gloves today. Please wear some gloves. Because last week, that Washington pick six, bro, that should have happened. That should have been a pick six for Jair Hill. The game would have been over immediately. Because Williams was already in his head. Once he threw that first interception in the second half to Cole Sullivan, he was in shambles after that first interception he threw in the third quarter. If Jair Hill were to get a pick six on him in the first half of that game, Williams would have been done. Washington wouldn't have even been able to score that. Maybe would not have even been able to score that 7 points they got. So if you can get to Aiden Childs and create some turnovers, that would be great. So contain the screens, don't fall for those, and defense create turnovers. Linebackers, safeties, corners. I think Jaden Mangum started last game, so if Jaden Mangum is starting, I hope that would be so poetic, iconic, legendary, ironic too, if he were to get a pick against Michigan State. That would be pretty cool. Hometown kid, started off there, came to the state champs. You already know. So that's the major keys, man. That's it. This is gonna be a shorter video today. Establish the run on offense is our first major key. Bryce should be able to try and break out this week. It's our second key. Third, receivers need to make big plays and catch the ball. Fourth, involve the tight ends. And then defense, man. Contain Aiden Childs. Stop Marsh Kelly. Set the edge and contain and be aware for screen passes and create turnovers. That's the fourth. So, with all that being said, man, it's an away environment. It's going to be loud. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of Michigan State fans there because they see this as their Super Bowl. As, you know, this is their big deal. So, this is a big deal for Michigan too, obviously. This is Paul Bunyan, man. Keep Paul at home, man. Let's go. Paul Bunyan rocking the Buffs is a good look, man. So, with that, I'll give you guys my score prediction. Just to be petty, I'll say Michigan wins 38-13. Because Michigan State has lost their last two games 38-13, and that would be hilarious if Michigan were to beat them 38-13 and they had lost 3 straight games by the same exact score. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we're going to march in there and win 49-0. We're not 2023, obviously. But I think we can pull away. If we are able to beat Washington 24-7, it shouldn't be that much harder to do worse than Michigan State. So tell your mama, your cousin, your bro to like, share, and subscribe to the Dave and Blue Show. Let's keep Paul Bunyan in Ann Arbor, man. Yeah, man. Let's keep Paul home, man. Tell your mama, your cousin, your bro to like, share, and subscribe to the Dave and Blue Show. We lit. Yeah. Go Blue.